Hi everyone. I want to take a moment today to really let you in and get to know me. Not just the mindset coach or the EFT trainer, but you know what? The little girl who once rode a carousel in Central Park and felt like she was galloping across wild meadows. I still feel it. I started riding at just 4 years old. Not on a sleek, polo pony or expensive racehorse, anything like that, but on the gardener's horse. It was still hitched to a plow. He used to go through the garden and the fields with the plow, and I was sitting on top. I was guided by the gardener himself. And yet, I was in heaven. That early bound with horses became the rhythm of my life for decades into the future. And then when I would go back into the city, back into Manhattan where I lived, my grandfather would take me to the carousel, the merry-go-round in Central Park. And that carousel had lights and it had, I remember, circus music. It was all playing on the carousel. And I'd wait for that carousel impatiently. I would wait for it to stop so that I could jump up on the carousel, jump up on a horse that I chose, and ride that horse. Those horses were magical. They had long eyelashes and they had fabulous colors. And they were swirling around on that carousel. They went up and down on those sticks. And I used to wave at my grandfather each time I passed him. And he would smilingly, blew me back kisses. I loved it. But here's what was really magical. As that carousel turned, I remember vividly imagining myself galloping through endless fields, free. I was already a rider in my mind. I didn't know it. I was a kid, but I was visualizing. I was creating an identity blueprint with every joyful spin of that merry-go-round. And you know what? Those moments, they planted something really powerful into me. It was a sense of, of who I was. Not just a girl in a carousel, but a rider in her soul. And that's how identity recalibration begins. You see, visualization, isn't just about seeing a future goal. It's more than that. It's about becoming the version of you who lives it. And years later, that feeling, that vision led me to show jumping, then to hunting, and then on to polo. And when I first wanted to start playing polo competitively, not just the little fun get-togethers and the club matches, I really wanted to play competitively, I was at a -2 handicap, and that's probably, I think, the lowest handicap that you can be in the sport. But I didn't let that define me. I used visualization daily. I would close my eyes, because I had read about in Shakti Gawain's book, Creative Visualization, and I saw myself playing fluidly. I saw myself reading the field and hitting the ball with precision. I saw myself scoring goals. I saw myself riding off my opposition man efficiently. I was elevating my emotion to train my brain. I did it without knowing what I was doing. But I know now. I was activating my RAS, and that stands for the Reticular Activating System. And I was programming my subconscious to expect success, because I would do it all the time. And I went from a -2 handicap to a +1 handicap. And I promise you that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by practice. It happens by design. I bent my reality through intentionality, through emotion, and of course through aligned action. If only I had known then what I know today and would have applied it, what I teach in the last 20 years, I would have become at least a 5-goal handicapped player. I would have. But it was not to be. I hung up my sticks about 15 years ago. But I do lots of other things. And today when I think of my goals, whatever they are, Here's how I still use that every day. I close my eyes and I feel the emotion of already achieving my goal. Of course I imagine it, but then when I imagine it, I see it and I feel something. And I breathe, inhale into that state for 60 seconds, 90 seconds. And I let that feeling flood my body. And if I catch myself like spiraling into doubt or double guessing myself, I stand up, I yawn intentionally, or I tap my collarbone. And I say, very clearly, I choose to reset. Now that breaks the loop. And it brings me back into possibility, into my zone of possibilities. My vibration begins to mirror my vision. And my subconscious starts recalibrating reality to make it happen. It doesn't always happen fast, but it does happen. And this is why I teach this today. Because if I could do it riding a plow horse at 4 years old and dreaming on a carousel, on a merry-go-round, you can do it too. Visualization is not magic. It's not. It's your mind showing your future self the way. It's writing your vibrational roadmap. And if this resonates, well then look, subscribe. Stay with me, because I'll be sharing many more tools to help you collapse time between where you are and where you know, you just feel it, you're meant to be, and where you want to be. Bye.